And my time, my culture, my welcome back. I'm saying, guitars out. I'm saying, hey, yo, look, listen, let me just talk to you about something. I've just been, just came up down there, got to charge my phone. Shout out to the girl that's next to me. I was sitting down there, you know what I'm saying, and then some fellow was sitting there, and I have to move, you know what I'm saying, because he's just like, being a good human being, you know what I'm saying. Hey, yo, let me just break it down to you, right? So, look, listen, I just wanted to talk to you about something, and I think, today, because I'm here and I need to shoot off, I thought, let me just talk about a book that really had an impact with me a while back, you know what I'm saying, my teenagers, especially I'm from Sri Lanka, I'm Southeast Asian, you know what I'm saying, but regardless of where, what people is from on my trauma culture on the other side of the screen, just hear this out, you know what I'm saying. So there's a book called Man's Search for Meaning, you know what I'm saying. The book is called Man's Search for Meaning. It's by Viktor Frankl, you know what I'm saying. And let me just say that one more time. The book is called Man's Search for Meaning. It's by Viktor Frankl, you know what I'm saying. And hey man, let me just tell you, it's a great short read, you know what I'm saying? Especially the book is to do with World War II, the Nazi regime and concentration camps, and the anti-Semitic values that the Nazi regime had against the Jewish community, you know what I'm saying, at the time. So obviously, I'm gonna get some people on the other side of the screen about you support Jews, bro, and I'm like, look, listen, I'm not anti-Semitic, and I think it's wrong to just hate any community because everyone allowed to exist and breach. I'm saying, especially being into activism for the Jewish community to do with the Nazi regime and the whole Holocaust that took place and whatnot. I'm saying, so the book is really to do with a man. I'm saying, I mean, there was a lot of people. I mean. History goes to show that there was about 6 million people, over 6 million people that has died, from, the concentration camps and whatnot, I'm saying. And so, hey man, and it was just the biggest, I think, genocide or ethnic cleansing. If you do look into the history, I think, Hitler was like some, look at his moustache, I'm saying. I mean, it was quite weird. He had that little moustache on his nose, and I was thinking, what the fuck is going on? Did he forget to shave, or did he just wake up and fucked up one side and the other side he fucked up, and then he's like, I'm gonna keep the the moustache in the middle, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know, you know what I'm saying? But hear me out, my trauma culture, right? That fatal mistake when I tried to grow a moustache, and I woke up one day and I was like, I think I had a trimmer or some crap, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna do this. So when you're young, you gotta have this triangle moustache, you know what I'm saying? It's thin by the upper lip, and then it goes into a triangle. I saw some rap having it, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that shit, you know what I'm saying? I went up and then tried to shave and bullshit, and then it just ended up giving me I had to get rid of it. I'm saying, hey, look, listen, let me just talk to you about the book, right? So, Man's Search for Meaning, right? Why is it a good read? I'm saying because it really looks into gives you a perspective about the struggles, the heartache, the whole story of how a concentration camp must have looked like, during the times of Hitler, I'm saying, during the World War II, where a mass group of the Jewish community from multiple countries were taken by transport, the railway, I'm saying, and they were put into concentration camps, and they were executed. And so what I want to, get to is something that I wrote something regarding this, right, which was how was everyday life is like in a concentration camp related in the mind of an average prisoner, because the Jewish community, they were put into these camps and they were made to do forced labor. I think they were made to build railways or some crap, you know what I'm saying, and made to basically be a prisoner, a slave to Hitler, because Hitler had this whole vision of eradicating all Jewish community, which is fucking stupid, you're saying. I think it was the Antichrist. I think they labeled him as the Antichrist. I don't even know what you're saying. But the reason why this book is important, because it really looks into the struggles, the heartaches, like I said, the complexity of what everyday life was like in the the concentration camps for a prisoner who was actually from the Jewish community, you know what I'm saying. And I think Viktor Frankl, when he went from the concentration camps of Germany or West Germany, where where he was located at the time, then he moved to America. He became a psychiatrist, and he wrote the book. And this book is a good read. A good read because, as the title, states, man's search for meaning. I'm saying so. I think my trauma culture, especially you or anyone, regardless of male, female, genders, regardless if you're like Superman or Batman in a cave, or Robin's probably like popping up from like a cave or whatnot. Just like, I fucking know what I'm saying. Hey man, the book itself, the title, Man's Search for Meaning, has a lot of value because I think at one point, or especially like my family come from a civil war country. You know what I'm saying? We had ethnic cleansing, we had genocide, and I think people that's out there who possibly come from war-torn places, or a place of a third world country, or you come from a circumstantial scenario where it's more to do with there was a lack of something, and there was struggle, there was pain, there was like I said, heartache, there was like you had to grieve, like, you know what I'm saying? And so the book, is to look at how to find meaning in a circumstances or situation that you might be going through, you know what I'm saying? And I got to tell you, there was a part in the book which really stuck with my mind for a very long time, you know what I'm saying? Especially like if you look, the concentration camps where these prisoners were kept, there was like dozens of people. I mean, if you go to these jail cells in like parts of the world where they keep about 20, 30, or even like 50, 60, prisoners in one big cell, right? That was like this, I'm saying. I remember reading the book, and literally Viktor Frankl would wake up and see someone just right next to him, just dead, you know what I'm saying, or waking up and finding someone has some form of disease, or someone can't move part of their body, you know what I'm saying. It was horrific how this whole experience must have been for the people of the Jewish community, especially the offsprings and the generations that was to come after, when people migrated to America or parts of the world, you know what I'm saying? So there's a one part of the book that really stuck with me, and I've got to tell you, man, and I think it's important because I think every single person in my culture probably want to hear me out, you know what I'm saying? Hey, guitar time, you know what I'm saying? Might want to relate to this, right? That not a story, like this autobiography, you can call it, right? Here is Victor, in a cell, and they have to go do labor or whatnot. They're prisoners. They've been like they're captive prisoners, right? And so at one point, the Nazi guards just rolled by, and then you gotta realize it was a lot of the environment was horrific. There was a lack of everything. I'm saying food was in shortage, and also hey man, it's quite fucked, you know what I'm saying? So the thing was, at one point, Viktor, Frankl, he's sitting in his prisoner, the cell, you know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of people that there's like small space, you know what I'm saying? At one point, the guards, the Nazi guards, right, with probably they all had like a, hideous, little moustache like Hitler, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what I'm saying. Hey, but in that book, he says when there was malnutrition, there was lack of food, blah blah blah. What really happened was literally these guards just comes up and gives him a small piece of bread. It's like those buns, you know what I'm saying, that bun with a small cup of soup. You know what I'm saying? And why is there a big takeaway? I think for me, because what he says in the book then really, really makes you really think about gratitude, and also think about blessings, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the lack of something might create meaning for everything, you know what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to elaborate is, so at one point when the Nazi guard comes up and gives him a piece of bread and a soup, right, and it was a small piece of bread, like a bunch, you know what I'm saying, with a small soup, right? That was his entire meal. He says in the book, and I remember reading it, and then he goes, you know what? For him, for a lot of people, when they look at that small bun and a small soup, that might look like, hey man, you know what? That's like, just a mouthful, just 2 bites, and that's that, you're saying. But then again, when he had that, not having anything, right? He said it created meaning for me. In the book, it says it created meaning. It just kind of shown that at that time when there was that small piece of bun and that small cup of soup, what it really created was it showed him gratitude, obviously, but it helped him understand that, you know, that meant the world to him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like just that small soup and that, you know, small cup of soup and that small bread, right? And at that time, you know, it created that, you know, not having something and, you know, starving, hunger, like the madness that was going on. So what I'm trying to, you know, get my trauma culture, you know, to think about it. You know, it's going to be on my Brown Boy The Cure, this content, but also I'm going to post it in Jacob Brown Official on YouTube. I mean, I started the freaking YouTube platform, you know what I'm saying? I was going to go out there and just create content, you know what I'm saying? But then I just wanted to, you know, throw some nuggets, I'm saying, for my culture, my tribe, my collective, I'm saying, who might relate with this. I think there's a lot of people on the social media space or on the other side of the screen who could just relate to the story, man. I'm saying, what I'm trying to, you know, get my trauma culture, you know, my community to understand, hey man, look, listen, like, you know, life's gonna fucking, you know, shit hit the fan, bro. I'm saying, you have to probably get the guitars out, probably have to, like, you know, do a bit of drums or something. But what you got to realize is that sometimes you just gotta just be open to there's a video that I watched, but I think it's in relation to this. I think it's important. Is sometimes you just gotta let, you know, life happen to you, versus, you know, trying to take life in control and trying to take hold of life and trying to be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this. I'm saying, because the reason why, because if you look at, you know, Buddhist philosophy. I'm a Christian, I'm saying, but regardless of religion, right? But, you know, Buddhist philosophy, you know, with suffering comes great joy, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the Buddhist philosophy. Like, you know, before there's, you know, happiness, before there is, you know, gratitude, before there is, like, you know, blissfulness, right? You have to go through a stage of suffering, you know what I'm saying? So I think with the culture that we're in, like, you know, the place that we're in, I'm saying, especially the society, the modern day society, we want instant noodles, we want this and that, I'm saying, but we got to, I think, what I want my trauma culture just to realize, man, is that sometimes you have to just let life happen to you, because the more you want to control, like, you know, like you're riding a horse, like, you know, riding a horse, yeah, you know, like one of those, like, is it jockeys, or, you know, like, you know, hey, but you're trying to take control of life, but there are things that you ultimately can't control, because it's just, you know, it's just things that you can't control, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you can control, like, you know, how you can drive, but you can't control how the other person can drive, you know what I'm saying? So I want, you know, just to tell you, the book itself, Man's Search for Meaning, it just really goes to show, for me personally, and I think my tribe can relate, is that, you know, sometimes the things that you're going through your life, where you are, the evolution, the metamorphosis, like, you know, just like a caterpillar trying to metamorphosize itself into a beautiful butterfly, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, a coal just, you know, turning into a diamond. Like, I mean, what made that process happen, you know what I'm saying? It's pressure, you know what I'm saying? You know, stress and pressure, you know what I'm saying? So what I'll tell you is, like, hey, you know, it's to really look at, you know, things, and just by that book itself, it's really stating that, you know, Man's Search for Meaning. It's to look at, you know, how, you know, things such as, you know, what Viktor Frankl or the Jewish community faced during the Holocaust, where 6 million people. The Holocaust is one, you know, specific event that has occurred, but there was multiple. There's multiple names as well, you know what I'm saying? And then they migrated to parts of the world, you know what I'm saying? I think there was a huge influx of people moving to the States, you know what I'm saying? So it's, you know, looking back and realizing how Hitler was a, you know, I think he was a weirdo. I mean, there's good weirdos and bad weirdos. I think I'm a very good weirdo, do you know what I'm saying? But it's just to allow oneself, or allow my trauma culture to come to a perspective that, you know, some of the things that you possibly have been through in your life, do you know what I'm saying? I mean, everybody's been through something, do you know what I'm saying? You know, or you're going through something, or you're in the midst of a storm, do you know what I'm saying? You're like, something's going on, and you're like, what the fuck is going on, bro? Like, I'm like, you know, just sitting out here, but all these typhoons are going around me, all these, like, hurricanes are going, I mean, it's like in fucking New Orleans, like, just start rapping like Little Wayne, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm trying to tell you is, whatever you're going through, right, there is always a space to find meaning. I'm saying. I mean, back to the Buddhist philosophy, it's to do with finding the bliss in the suffering before the suffering becomes the bliss. I'm saying. So what I'm inviting my Dharma culture is to think about is what have you just been through in your life. I'm saying. I mean, you could have just been through a couple of years ago, or, a moment in your life, or you could be going through it right now, or you could be just, in the midst of a storm, you know what I'm saying? But what's actually, getting you, waking up? What's actually making you just get up and be like, you know what, man, I need to find some meaning, man. And I mean, if you're out there, doing something and the world is caving in on you, what are you doing and what are you saying to yourself that's keeping this going? You know what I'm saying? Hey man, I think it's important to attach meaning to events and positively. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes the worst things got to happen, just like Buddhist philosophy, but the worst thing got to happen before the good things come. You know what I'm saying? Because how would you know what is good if you haven't experienced the worst or the bad? It's in Buddhist philosophy really create a meaning that some things are happening, and some people will be like, "It's happening to me, bro." Why is it always happening to me, bro? I was chatting to someone I think this was in central London about a couple of days ago, and they're like, it's only this was a group of people, but there was a girl and a guy that was in a group. I'm saying, I think they came up this restaurant, and I was waiting by the bus stop, and we're just having a chat. I'm saying, and she goes, "Why does it keep on happening to me?" And I was like, "It's happening. It's not happening to you. It's not happening to you. Let's just get that straightforward, right? You might feel like, this is happening, that's happening, this is happening to you, but it's happening for you. Just change how you." Change how I told her. I was like, change how you place the label that is happening to you, and think about it's happening for you. Maybe it's happening to you because it's happening for you to become something great. You know what I'm saying? Then I gave her the example. It might be cheesy, of the coal turning into the diamond. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, "Oh, you know what? I really like that." You know what I'm saying? And I was like, "Hey man," you know what I'm saying? So, hey man, look, listen. Viktor Frankl's Man Search for Meaning. It's a book about the Jewish Holocaust and the genocide ethnic cleansing in Germany, World War II, and also how this fella went to the States and he became a psychiatrist, and he wrote a book just to explain. It's a short read, and to finish off, I just really want to talk to my Dharma culture is that, hey man, next time something goes on or whatnot, I'm saying, always question, always have this in just have this phrase just pop up every single time. I'll come back to this video, right? It's sometimes life is not happening to you, life is happening for you. And when you change that context, because it's about how you label your life, you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people attached to their past traumas and future tragedy, they have this assumption that something's bad gonna happen, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm gonna tell you, man, is that just gotta be like, hey man, look, listen, life is not happening to me, life is happening for me, and maybe it's happening for the good, the best, you know what I'm saying? And hey, and it just comes from understanding that we're all human beings, broskies, and everyone, you know what I'm saying? And we just gotta appreciate you got just be able to load in self-love, man. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta tell you, I mean, Viktor Frankl, when he went up to the States, and did he just give up on life? No, he just built a new life. He became a psychiatrist, and I think he was a successful successful entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? So, hey, next time, think about this. Life is not happening to you. Life is happening for you. You know what I'm saying? And change the whole. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to make this whole woohoo bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Coach, let me get it. And yeah, that's that. So I'm going to just go out there and just make a video about something. But just gotta tell you, man, just give that a reach, you know what I'm saying? Hey, peace and love. Let's go.